Oh my God. Oh, finally, Sandeep Reddy Vanga's interview about Animal with Baradwaj Rangan. And since the picture came out first and then the video came out, I'm like, I have to check it out. It's 2 hours long, but there'll be a lot of, insights about the film. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of controversy also. But I know he has done more interviews with other publications, but I feel they will be targeting to get those, lines from him and do some sensational stuff. But here, Bardwaj will be asking more about the film. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But this is long, so there'll be part one, part two. It's just too long, 2 hours. I cannot put a 2.5 hour video. So it will be cut in parts. So this is part one. I'll post part two later. So do check that out too. And without any delay, let's have a look. If you haven't seen the original interview, check it out on Gallata Plus channel. I'll put the link in description. So without any delay, let's understand the mind of Sandeep Reddy Vanga for Animal. Without judging, let's just hear what he has to say.
Hello, Sandeep. Welcome to Gallata Plus.
Thank you.
First of all, I'm very interested in this poster behind you, which says not a Sandeep Reddy Vanga film, but the Sandeep Reddy Vanga film.
Okay.
No, actually, I'll tell
Is
you.
that a mistake or?
No, it's a mistake. Actually, it's the film school. We always heard professors saying that guys, you should make the film. You should not make a film because so it's actually the film by. वो पता नहीं कैसे गलती हो गया in the announcement video, and it caught attention and it got a lot of thing, and poster designer Anil Banu, they felt like let's use this. But I felt like I'm not the Himalayas or I'm the state. Let's not use it. Then I corrected it. And nobody found, किसी ने पकड़ा नहीं है. Only you're asking me. So I felt like it's a statement saying.
I never saw that closely though. I have to accept.
The film by, I always felt, you give 3 years, 4 years for a film, so
It
better
works.
make it. Yeah.
It kind of this one.
Yeah.
So was this the film that was first called Devil?
No, that's a different thing. That's a little different characterization that I told to Mahesh sir.
Okay.
So
that's a different film.
That's a different story.
Okay.
Maybe the characterization you might find little, similar, but it's a different story. Yeah.
Okay. So you first started this with a 5-minute pitch to Ranbir.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, 10 minutes,
Yeah.
roughly. At that point,
Yeah.
what was the story?
At that
want to
point,
know.
I had the beats. I'd said this is a story about a father and son. Predominantly, it's a love story, and this is the
A love story
madness.
between father and son.
Yeah, this is the madness, and this is the milieu, and this is the, A to Z. So I just mentioned very like a topography. The film runs in Delhi, like that, So you'll not know about the villain at all for a very long time. Usually what happens is like in the interval you open the villain, but this is treated this way. I majorly spoke about the treatment of the film.
Right.
So he was pretty
Okay.
impressed. I was in doubt. So because I was not prepared, but I had to meet so that you know that you're working with him.
Right.
So he said like, I like the energy of this story. I said like, okay. And after 7-8 months I met and I narrated the entire, I think I narrated 3.5 hours. So,
Right. So you envisioned this as a father-son story.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But in the same thing,
Yeah.
at what point did the point that the son is an animal,
Yeah.
almost psychopathic creature, when did that flavor come into the son?
Father-son stories, there's so many stories. We always have this tendency of thinking what's in the market already. So I thought, see, I can't give Ranvijay Singh Balbir as a character name. It becomes like again Arjun Reddy, Kabir, another Singh. So I didn't want to sound like that because it's a lengthy name. So I thought like it has to be short, it has to be very powerful. So I don't know when it happened, but somehow I felt suddenly it struck and I called Ranbir and I said, what do you think of the title Animal? So he loved it. Luckily, when we went to register the title, nobody has it.
Nobody has it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a very good, opportunity that no one had it. Like it's a great name, and now they're making Animal Park, and like now they have the rights to the title.
So at what point did you begin to see the son
Yeah.
as this kind of an animal?
Yeah.
Like at what point was that? Was that right from the beginning?
Yeah.
Or as you started writing the thing, did you see, okay, it'll be interesting to make this son like so almost like a psychopath?
Whenever I get an idea about a story, majorly every time, I have the beginning, middle, and end. So when you know what is your end, so you'll root up to it, you'll build up to it. So in a way, I know because I don't know, somehow I like the idea of keeping the knife in father's hand.
Right.
They say, look what I've done for you. And if you see the kind of expression he gives, Ranveer, he's like, Papa, did you gauge what is happening between me and you? At least now is a kind of a thing. When I had that in my mind, I felt like this is an apt thing. It didn't germinate in between, but I thought it came very instinctively in the beginning itself because even in the speech also he says like जिसने भी गोली चलाई उसको गला काट दूंगा.
In your films, let's say two films, basically Arjun Reddy / Kabir Singh and Animal, you first define these flawed men as to what the flaw is. So in Kabir Singh, Arjun Reddy, you say this man has a serious anger management issue. In Animal, you kind of basically make Anil Kapoor say, "हमने एक criminal को पैदा किया है," or some I forget the exact line,
same thing,
something like that. So pretty much establish what is wrong with the character, and then you take that story onwards. Why do you feel the need to have that little definition up front?
It is very. I didn't. Even my brother was saying that. Do you notice that you're following a pattern? I don't know. I mean,
You don't see it like when you're making things, like you're not thinking, oh, this is a formula I follow, this is how you just do it, and then when you look after it, look behind it, like, yeah, oh, actually there's something consistent. Like, I made 3 or 4 short films, and after making them some years later, I just watched them, I'm like, oh my god, there's a one theme which is prevalent in all of them, and I didn't realize, but I keep going back to that, so it's very interesting.
I don't know. It's very. I can't really.
It's instinctive.
It's very instinctive, and it went with the flow. And I don't know. There's no. I can't dissect it.
Right.
But I have to be very conscious that should not come. And yeah, even in the Arjun also, the dean is saying things about him, and he wants him to say sorry. I said like, I'm not going to say sorry. Even he's saying that, I don't know. It आ गया वो.
Yeah. What draws you to these very, very flawed men? Because for the longest time, the hero was somebody who does
Perfect.
good things, who
Yeah.
does no wrong. First, there was the good hero.
Yeah.
Then you got the Amitabh face, where the hero was like a vigilante killer. He could do all kinds of bad things. He could like want to destroy his father. He could want to do all kinds of things. Like, things you did not usually see a hero do. And then we went into this love story phase in Hindi where, again, heroes became good again. And then now we're seeing a little bit of this. So what draws you to this flawed hero? You were attracted to that.
Because what I figured out, even this question I asked myself also, what I figured out from the childhood, whatever films I liked were all flawed men. I don't know, for some reason.
Okay.
Can you name a couple of films that you like?
Indrudu Chandrudu, Kamal Hassan's. Shatru is not a flawed man, Venkatesh's character. He's a little angry young man. There are a lot actually. In Hindi, too, there are a lot of films.
Right.
And majorly this happened in a very slow ascending order.
Right.
But I went into film school, exposed to world cinema, it became much bigger. But David Fincher, Martin Scorsese films, watching them, Stanley Kubrick films. So I felt like, okay, ये zone है, you can tell a story in this zone. The confidence came from those world cinema where I felt like, okay, flawed man ka, we can tell a story in a very compelling way, then audience will sit through. So
yeah. In Animal, the nice thing is, or the interesting thing is, even the father becomes a flawed man. He's a flawed man as well.
Yeah.
He's not perfect either. It's not like this guy's rebelling and see, for example, in Arjun Reddy, the father's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like Arjun's the rebel, whatever. He's the real fucked up guy.
Yeah.
But the father's like a good guy.
Yeah.
But here the father is also like he's fucked up in his own way.
Yeah. The accomplishment is so high, so it can't. There's no balance.
There's no balance. Yeah. So what pushes you to write in these extremes? I think that's what
that's a whole drama.
That's a drama.
You get the drama only when you deal with extreme things, or else. See, imagine like father was like Bombaril father or somebody else, other kind of father. This will not be like that, And even when the mother is talking to him, he says like children need love and attention, Balbi. And the way he shuts her, that shows that like he doesn't want to get into that topic because he knew that he's at fault. So
Ego.
Yeah. So what is the way you saw it? What is Ranbir's arc in the film? I'll tell you what I saw. Let me know if this is how you saw it. In a childhood, he's desperate for his father's love. Then he doesn't get what he wants. So that leads him to certain disturbing behaviors. So then father sends him to boarding school, which is like a cage. You cage the animal in a boarding school and then in America. And he comes back as a kind of a tamed man. But when the father is shot and he realizes that the brother-in-law is responsible, the animal in him bursts out again. Is that kind of roughly
Yeah,
how
the
you
thing is like see, I felt always that when you have that kind of a connection with the parents, when you're not in touch also, there's always that pain you're carrying throughout.
Right.
That I'm not talking to my father for so long, and he's not trying to call him. So in a situation like that, when you know that somebody is trying to kill your father, I think your emotion doubles and multiplies. I think.
Right.
Even the anger, even the love, even the fear of losing becomes much more bigger. I think that's where like this. I mean, I didn't try to justify also.
Right.
Because in the edit room when I was watching from A to Z, like not a continuous flow, but when in bits and pieces, I used to get this feeling that what has happened with these guys, because Ranbir played it so well. I have no words to
Yeah,
express.
Ranveer is an extraordinary
Yeah,
performance.
even I felt that in Sanju and even Rockstar. I lost while I was watching. I lost that it's a cinema. Especially it happened only with Sanju for me. I forgot that it was a film, and it happened with Anime also being my own film. So being your feeling happening
Interesting.
is like, which is really hard.
Yeah.
I think a lot of why the film works is that Ranbir sells it so well as a character. And actually made a whole video on my channel. You can check it out about why Animal is working with the people. What is the relativity factor? It's actually not the violence or other things. It's something else at the core of it. So definitely check out the main channel. I'll put it here somewhere.
It doesn't happen because I don't hear to my film's music.
Yeah.
I don't see my film scenes again and again, like how people see and how people think like a great scene. So like in the edit room one day, I felt like from inside like what's happening with this guy's life. That very rarely happens.
Right.
I was feeling bad. I was rooting for him, and I called also Ranbir saying that, dude, what have you done? Like, what is this?
Wow.
Because it's a see. Point is like when you write a scene and when you finish the screenplay and when you're going for the shoot, you change few things while you're little things, not majorly. But to hold that with you for 3 years, it has to have something.
Yeah.
If you doesn't feel that it is not holding, that for me, I don't know about others, but I lose interest.
Right.
Few scenes like I thought like what ye kaisa ho? Like, I don't know how is it, but in the edit when I see it together, it was like something else.
Right.
So that exercise is more painful and more interesting and more very, like you're at the edge of the thing. Idhar udhar ho gaya to you're gone. For example, Jija killing scene, it can go wrong. The flight goes up. What I was giving to the audience is like, kahani take off hua yahan se. They say na from
Okay.
here the story took off.
So that's where the
I know a lot of people said what was that, it made no sense, but I felt it was a nice transition because it was planned. Because when the flight is going up, the camera is zooming, in the from the, what do you call it, in the cockpit, the window, whatever that glass shield, what is called, whatever. So it's just camera is zooming into the sky, and then transitions happen, and the camera just comes down, and Ranbir is with beard and comes out of the car. So it's like planned. It's not like afterwards they thought let's do that. So I like that it was planned. It was not just abruptly they did anything.
That's what I was symbolically trying to say, because I'm doing a little bit of a CG, green room CG also. I'm doing it the first time. I have no knowledge. Now I have a little understanding about it.
Yeah, that was
So
CG,
when
right?
he stopped the car, when he got down, there has to be shift of the music also, because you can't take the same background score from the car to the corridor to inside the room killing. It has to be mix of BGMs also. And it should not like suddenly something is coming. It has to go with the feel of your whistle where the bacha is running towards the father. From there, it has to follow a pattern of looking like one family of a music. I think that was more, I enjoyed that process, and at the same time, I was scared also.
yeah, yeah. Actually, since you bring it up, your work in background music, which you do, that's very unusual.
Yeah.
Because the cues that you give are not the typical, oh, sad means I'm playing a violin, happy means I'm playing something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like a the typical background cues. You go for very unusual
Yeah.
instruments,
Yeah.
that leave us a little confused as to what is the emotion at this point. You know, that disorientation is something.
Yeah.
Is that because of the music, or do you try to give that to the audience?
I always feel like, for example, if somebody's getting angry, there's a regular kind of BGMs you hear in most of the films. I don't want to use that. I always try to, use a different instrument in a different emotion and see whether it's working. Actually, this realization started. I'll tell you one backstory. When I went to film school in Sydney, so the moment I landed in Sydney, after 1 week, I bought a car. Matlab, one of my friend's friend was leaving to Adelaide. So he had this 1994 Toyota Camry. I bought that for $500. So those days, 36 rupees is the dollar. So it's like 20,000. 20,000, I got a car. I was excited. So I used to go in the car to the film school, and usme there's one cassette player. There's only one cassette in the car left. One side is Swati Mutyam, another side is Sagar Sangam. Put the cassette, I was going. I used to go via Pitt Street to Rosebery, to my film school. That's the route. In the Pitt Street, George Street, I'm driving. It's a big, long tower buildings, and Chinnari Ponnari Kittai. This song, I was like, what's happening? This visual
Inspired
and this
from
audio.
true life.
I used to enjoy those drives every day, only on Swati Mutyam and Sagar Sangam, because only one cassette was there.
Right.
So
And there's a gentle movies and very Indian tunes.
Indian movies, and it's in a white country, and those long big buildings in between, and you see all in the red light also you see only white crow running, and this music, Swati Mutyam, Sagar Sangam, but I used to. There was a time when I used to feel school khatam hote hi, I want to sit in the car, play, and go into different streets and enjoy this music and that visual. So maybe it started from there. From at that point, I feel like using a very different, peculiar, not a regular peculiar sound, but a different sound and a different emotion, and see how it works.
Right.
That exercise started there. Yeah.
Is it true that apart from Ranveer, I read in an interview somewhere recently that apart from Ranveer, nobody knew the full story of Animal. Is that true?
No, Rashmika knew, few people knew, but Anil sir, mock at me saying, you never told the story. I told him, but because it's hard to, hold Anil sir's attention. So he'll shift into a different topic so that way he felt that I didn't narrate the story. But wantedly, I didn't narrate to Bobby sir because I didn't want him to know the story.
Okay.
Because I thought like he's playing mute. Anyways, half of the expression is gone when you're playing mute. I thought like I don't want to know the story. I thought it will create something new in him because keeping him in that not knowing the story.
Yeah.
Actually, that helped. Actually.
That helped. Yeah.
But rest of them, I told but not because I'll accept that the kind of depth with the emotion I narrated to Ranbir for 4 hours. I didn't do the same with everybody else. Yeah.
Right. Now you said that he becomes an like angry after he hears that his father is shot. Right.
Yeah.
But there is this.
You see that? You see that? That's his phone. He has written questions. I thought he always comes up in his mind only.
Scene where for the first time he comes back from America with his wife and kids, and the brother-in-law Varun. Varun is his name.
Yes,
right?
yes.
He says, "You wait here." And he listens.
Yeah.
He doesn't say there's no animal bursting out and saying, he's my papa. Who the fuck are you to say let me not go inside or something like that? He calmly, patiently waits.
Yes.
Why does he wait?
No, I felt like he's coming after 7 years, 6 years, 6, 7 years. And he knew that if he talks like that, there's going to be, he doesn't want to create an issue there. And if you remember, Rashmika says, please don't do anything, knowing his temperament. So I wantedly kept him quiet because he felt like this is not the right situation. It's not a 60th birthday party anymore to talk to him like that. And he knows that if he comes to know again, he's going to feel bad. And they're coming after so many years, he just want to meet his father, forget about what's happening around. He's very confident that, he's going to deal once he gets his... when the father says, pehli goli lagi,
To tumhari awaaz.
Papa, watch out. Then that's a way, in a way, father is also saying that you are not there, in a very subtle way. So I thought, when you get that from the father, then rest everything will wither away.
Interesting. I didn't connect that dot there like that. I think that was kind of an affirmation from the father, right? That I missed you and I need you. And I think that just unlocks him that no, now, I always wanted that love, and now he's asking me to be with me, and now I have to prove it and all.
So I didn't give anything that चलो तुम्हारे हाथ में चाबी दे रहा हूँ, no, you take care, like a kissing on the hand, Godfather, you came back. मैं सोचा वो सब नहीं करना है. Next thing is like he goes and talks to Shakti sir, and from there he goes to the factory. I thought like I'll show the aggression in the factory.
In the factory, yeah.
You know, that the way he was saying those lines and all that. I thought rather than showing there, pushing the Jija, I thought let's not do that. So deliberately I made him sit quiet,
But that's
sitting with the workers, where you felt also, no? Or I felt like audience will feel there, you know?
Yeah. And that's really what for me at least, why your films work so well, because what I expect you're not giving me. Because I would think that when an angry son comes back, or rather a worried son comes back, and this Jijaji of all people tells him that don't see your dad. Now, I would think he just shove him aside and say, I'm a son. Who the hell are you to tell me not to see my dad? That's my expectation, right? But you're breaking that expectation and putting that.
Yeah.
Now, is this again an instinctive thing? Or do you think that this is what the audience will expect? Let me do something different.
Sometimes I do that. Sometimes it's very instinctive, to be very frank, because I thought, when a father will also ask him, "Kahan tha tu ab tak?"
Yeah.
Papa, it's not important. He says, that's not important.
Yeah.
Because he could have easily said,
blamed it on him.
Varun made me wait. But he'll tell to Shakti uncle, Mishra uncle. So Varun ne bola. You feel that.
Yeah.
He's a true successor, and that's why I wantedly made him smoking with the workers. He's just sadly smoking, and he comes, he's shocked. Champ, what are you doing here? I thought this is what I want to give. See, this when places like this, I want to deliberately make the audience feel yehi hai,
Okay.
So that's what he says, like, Chere pe nahi likha na, to Balbir Singh ka beta, When he says the Jesus says, and the cousins give him back.
Yeah.
Baap ka naam kya hai, Balbir Singh, Those things, we wantedly placed it, like, yeah.
Right. Why does he go to the pind?
I felt, when I think this also, like, how do you judge a bodyguard? How do you trust him?
Right.
Because when I see big people with bodyguards, I have this feeling, how do you judge that guy? He can easily come, turn and shoot you, just like that. Like, how do you trust when you're having so much money? I thought like he'll go, because he knew that he has a lot of cousins. So I thought like the inner circle will be more secured if you have from your blood and brothers and all that. So that's what he says, like, that's a straight line from Godfather.
Yeah.
But history has taught us something like anybody can kill anybody.
Yeah.
ये लोग गोली चला सकते हैं लेकिन गोली खा नहीं सकते पापा के लिए. So how do we trust them?
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Then I thought like in the group picture also he takes that topic out. बड़े दादाजी का family को बुलाया पिंड से. Then there's a strange factor already established.
Yeah.
So I thought like that he'll reconcile the relationship and get the cousins. That's a high moment I felt.
Yeah.
It's a very cinematic high.
Yeah.
And like, there's no dialogue. I wantedly thought like, let's see without a dialogue. And we got the BGM before. So I was playing in the set. It was full of adrenaline. All,
Yeah.
That's always fascinating, when they say that they got the music before and while shooting they use some music. And that's, I think, not many films do that. Because most of the time music is done after the film is done, or there's some reference music which, can be used. But to get the music before and by the end of the film, you use that only. There's no change. That's very exciting.
Punjabi guy is coming and touching his feet, and he's also like,
oh, that moment.
Anilji also baffled, looking at who are these guys, full of 12 people standing. And when I was shooting, when I was looking at everybody, I thought like we should have a dialogue. The dialogue was not in the script. I said like, Ranveer, I said like something you should say. A simple dialogue, it will work. Kharoj bhi aaye, duniya jala dunga. It's a very simple, and we heard 100 times. But the placement is
everything.
So lethal. At that point, background score ekdam quiet hone ke baad. When he says all this, echo also little, because there's a high roof houses. So I thought we add a little echo in the dialogue.
Attention to detail.
So all that worked.
Yeah. What I liked also about that is that we see these very strange photographs of these Sardars and all that in Anil's office.
Yeah.
And we're like,
oh shit, you noticed, huh? Great.
No, but it's there, no? Like,
yeah.
So I'm like, who are these people? What are these strange photographs and all that? And then you kind of...
Yeah, I wanted to create that. But, so many times you do few things, nobody notices it. but you still want to do that. Good that you bought this. Nobody's asked me about this.
Right. It's like,
It gives a feeling that you belong there.
yeah. So I'm like, these guys are not dressed in turbans and all
Yeah.
that, but who are those people? And
Yeah.
like, why does he have all that? So there's
Yeah.
definitely some story happening
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, and then you get this.
Yes, yes.
So it's like, wow, okay, so that's the connection.
Yeah.
So,
It's a deliberate brief given to my production designer, Suresh, that we'll put this. Jitna dikhta hai, dekhenge. Let's not put a close-up, but maybe in the background also.
Yeah.
I like to put that kind of detail in the films.
Yeah. There's a frame that
Very interesting. I don't remember if I saw. No, I don't think so. It clicked in my head. But I think in the beginning when there's a whole dialogue about that estranged family and unko nahi bulaya, this and that. I think yeah, that was kind of set up, and because from the trailers we all knew, right? So you were expecting that to happen.
may mean nothing, but I just love that frame when Ranbir brings Gitanjali, Rashmika, to meet his father.
The bookshelf.
The bookshelf.
Yeah.
They're standing at the corner of this frame, and it's a wide shot.
Yes, yes.
And you have that entire
I
enormous
remember this.
wall, roof to floor bookshelves, and they're looking like two pathetic like school kids out there.
Yeah.
Tell me how you.
No, I wanted to give that feeling that it's like he's your father, but he's a powerful man.
Yeah.
He's sitting with the chief minister having a coffee. So I wanted to create that. You wanted validation, call it. You wanted your love of your father and everything, but your father is not a regular father.
Right.
Now we said like, get out of my house. You went out and you found the girl, came back, and for him to come and show, I think only when you are unconditionally in love with somebody, you can do that, keeping your strength and ego aside, and you walk into the room and say, Papa, I want you to meet somebody special.
Yeah.
That's what he says. Like, when he's not looking at him, he'll say, Papa, main rehne nahi aaya. Don't think that with this, I'll come and meet and get married, I'll sit at home. He's still saying, our equation is same.
Right.
I'm still going away from the house. But I want you to know that this is the girl I'm getting married.
Right. So those bookshelves are a kind of symbol of the dad's power and position.
Yeah, I thought and I hardly use any wide shots. Entire film I have, I think 3 or 4 wide shots.
Yeah.
So I thought this is the only situation. See, I felt you felt so powerful also because of the reason also that.
Yeah.
Like the party scene also, right? The whole party scene. I noticed that he doesn't give you a wide shot of the party except when the family picture is happening. It's mid shots or close up, mid shots, close up. And there's a POV shot also when he's talking to his sister. So I noticed there were not many wide shots.
Yeah.
I don't use just for the sake of using
Yeah,
it.
they're like two tiny people there,
Yes,
So, yeah.
And even the girl in the little frock, it is making you more school kids kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
He was also very excited, having a smirk on his face. Okay, I'm excited that I want to show you to my father,
Yeah.
The question's also like that. You want to sit? You want to drink some water? She says, no. Yeah.
With this Ranbir, again, let's go back to his arc. What made me so emotional at the end, he's a beast trying to A, protect his father, B, get his father to love him the way he wants to love him. And when he thinks that he has done everything that he can to protect his father, Dad gets leukemia.
Yeah.
So he's going to lose his father anyway. After all this, after this murderous rampage of doing all these horrible things, he still can't save his father.
Yeah.
Tell me, why did you want that sense of him being a bit of a losing things at the end? You're saying that, I'm saying you could have just as easily have reconciled them at the end, right?
Yeah.
But you chose not to do that.
Yeah.
You're like, after all this, I'm still going to lose my dad.
Yeah.
My wife is walking away.
Yeah.
Before that, I lost my hearing. I lost my bladder control, bodily functions. There's so much that he loses.
Yeah.
What made you go towards that direction?
Actually, this was when I narrated the 10 minutes idea to Ranbir. That was there that time also, this idea. Because this is where I felt like, I personally feel with what my understanding on life is, great things are short-lived.
Right.
There's nothing like the way he comes and sits and says, Papa, let's go for a holiday. We deserve a holiday. Life is not like that. I felt like itna sab karne ke baad, you have not achieved anything. In a way, I want to say that you killed so many people. I know they came to kill you, but still, you've killed so many people. I felt like, the church father says there's no redemption. The destructive force, that's a fact. People might be laughing because of the way the father got irritated. But whatever the Swamiji and father is saying, they are facts. Even the Swamiji says, like, tera samapt ho gaya hai. 36 is the limit, he says, but I chopped the dialogue because of the length. He says 37 is your limit. Since he got the heart, so he's alive. Or else there's no, because heart transplantation is today's world is happening.
Yeah.
Like 50 years back, 40 years back, there's no heart transplant.
Yeah.
That means you're dead. So according to the Jatak Vatak and all, he's gone. I always felt in love stories, accomplishment wala feeling should not be there. I don't know why I feel that. Maybe, I don't know the reason, but I felt that will be more dramatic. In spite of doing so much, you didn't get anything. And deliberately, I didn't want them to hug also when they're crying. I felt like, the way he's giving back to the father is saying, आपके पास तो टाइम नहीं है. अगर मैं शिकायत करना शुरू करूंगा तो मेरी शिकायत पूरी होने से पहले आप खत्म हो जाओगे, आप मर जाओगे. He's openly saying that.
Yeah.
Because he's saying with a lot of pain. And he walked away with that report, if you notice, he's holding that report.
Right.
Still feeling something can be done, calling his friends in US and something like that. But when the father stops him and saying that the same thing what he wrote when he was a kid, he's saying it now. Ranbir gives a kind of expression, what is the point if you understood now? Then he still walks away. And I felt like he's so helpless that he's holding Mishra uncle and crying. I don't know whether the dialogue you heard, he says like, Mishra uncle, ab main kya karu?
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like this character never cries and he's saying, ab main kya karu, you're dead.
Yeah.
Ranvijay Singh Balbir's story is over.
Right.
Because he's never confused or he's like that ki, ab main kya karu, kya karna chahiye mujhe. So
Right.
I felt like I should leave the audience with that emotion in the climax, but I always had this feeling of a part 2.
Yeah.
So I thought like, let's give a glimpse. So I started that because there was a feeling for me strongly, me and Ranbir, majorly Ranbir strongly felt like the idea is great, but we should use this scene now. Even I thought like, let's use it because
Which scene is this?
the chopper scene, the butcher scene.
Yeah.
So I thought like I'll take it little while. I keep a blank screen for a while and then use. But मुझे डर लगा कि लोग चले जाएंगे तब तक because I wanted to leave that feeling for a while.
Right.
But that complaint I always have, that वो feeling खत्म होने से पहले I opened the butcher. But yeah.
Right.
Because this feeling is going to continue for a while in the part 2.
Yeah.
So I thought like, okay, ठीक है.
Right.
When you see it like volume 1, volume 2, you'll feel nice.
Okay.
Right. At that point,
Yeah.
So
when
I think theory is right that part 2 will be, we'll be following both the narratives equally.
Ranbir realizes that, shit, I've done all this and I'm still a loser.
Yeah.
At that point, he says, let's do this play acting.
Yeah.
You become the dad, I'll become the dad, and you become the son.
Yeah.
What made you say, that's the point, I want this final frustration to kind of break out there?
No matter he's saying, Papa, कुछ नहीं होगा, मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त हैं, clinical trials करेंगे, आज रात निकल जाएंगे. He's saying that, but he knew it's gone. Saying like 4th stage, 3rd stage, he knew that much. And he's saying, I thought, this is the chance I'm going to vent out my frustration.
All my lifelong.
Yeah, he's saying like, only we'll do one day. He says like, पूरी जिंदगी का तो नहीं कर सकते, आपके पास time नहीं है ना. Let's do one day. When Michael Jackson came to India. So I thought even that water splashing on his face and everything, I thought there's a huge drama because you've never seen him shouting on him. You always seen father is slapping, shouting on him, calling him pig, putting on weight. We never see son doing it. I thought it will be very hard-hitting and powerful when we make the son talk like that. And even when the mother comes, it's like, Mama, you stay outside. It's between me and my father, and I got this chance after 35 years. So I don't know, this very instinctively happened. I thought like, maybe this is how this guy should behave at this point. If he holds Papa's hand and saying, Papa, don't worry, I'll make it all right, and they're walking in the lawn, it's not going to work.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're giving me something that I'm not expecting at that point at all. Though, of course, you gave me a series of things that I didn't expect. So even at this point, I was like, okay, I know this is not going to be a conventional hug and Papa, ye kya ho gaya? That kind of scene is not going to happen. So I kind of knew that it was going somewhere, but this is something I did not expect. Now, tell me one thing. What does Anil Kapoor's... Of course, he loves his son in a general way, but is he also troubled by the boy? Like, why is he so violent? Why is he so... Like, what is his feeling towards his son? Because I love that line, जब पहली गोली आई थी तो तुम्हारी आवाज सुनाई थी. So why does he say that? It's like, what does that mean?
Because I feel he must have understood when he was in 5th standard only that when he becomes an adult, he'll be a very protective son towards me.
Right.
He must have understood, because when he sees how he's behaving with the sister, holding the rifle and going to the college, and he's saying, actually, this is one line I removed it. He says like, "What's the point of being so wealthy in life?" I thought like, let's not give
This
that
is Anil
wealth.
Kapoor says.
No, the kid says,
The kid says,
Ranbir
huh.
says.
I think
Yeah.
that line
So
was
he
there.
removed that wealth. I thought like, no, you should not give an idea that, because kids get that.
Yeah.
Actually, kids who are 14, 15, 16, 17, in that age, if they know that father is rich,
Right.
then they will play that accordingly based on घर के, how the environment is at home. So when the father is not available only at home, so obviously there's 100% tendency that the kids fall into that trap of the fuck, we are rich, Somewhere, see, he slapped him, he was sent him to the boarding school, but somewhere he knew that, what a guy, he did a wrong thing, it's according to the law and order, it's not right, but Papa ko to lagta hoga na. I know that he's a criminal, but look at his fury. Look at the kind of, attitude he has.
So in a way, he admires.
Yeah, in a way, he felt like maybe if you were here, this wouldn't have happened.
Right.
That's why I was missing you. So that's what I said. That's a very subtle validation.
Yeah.
A subtle thing that, okay, now we are joining our hands. I didn't want to show it in a symbolism,
Yeah.
but in a dialogue. And even if you notice, he's not knowing what to talk. That's why he's going on the chest hair.
Yeah.
Saying, Papa, I never saw you with the chest hair, because he didn't know how to react. Because this kind of situation happened in the past, then he knows, Papa, don't worry, he'll hug. But he never had that moment, so you don't know how to behave, whether hold his knees or hold his hand or put a hand on his shoulder. So he's like, if you see Ranbir, like, it's a phenomenal job he did. Every shot he was great, but he's not even looking into his eyes.
Yeah.
He's talk about the, and immediately Shakti uncle comes and says, doctors were confused, and the nurse comes and says, that's over.
Right.
After that, father is shocked looking at the TV. What is he doing in the factory? So I wanted to give that only. I didn't want them to
Wait,
be.
what scene are they talking about? I thought he's talking about when. Oh no, that part was. Hair part was. Oh, when he was shot. I was thinking he's talking about when, after the school incident, he comes, he just keeps slapping at him. I got confused there.
Only.
Yeah.
I have created a situation like that. From there, he went to the factory. From there, he goes to the pin.
Yeah.
He gets the cousins, and it's out of order.
Yeah. He just goes.
It's out of his
out.
hands, yeah. So even the phone call, the sister is saying like, he can't do anything. He stopped Jija at the gate. Khatam ho gaya.
Yeah.
So I didn't create a situation only where the conventional things will come.
Yeah.
So that was a hard part actually in the writing.
Right.
To not to create that conventional thing and still jump in the screenplay and still make it compelling was actually took time actually.
Right. I love the fact that because I love masala cinema, so the echoes are a big part of it. So when the same Japeli Goli Chali comes when Bobby and he are fighting at the airport, and he's almost being overpowered, but then he remembers the dad telling him that, and like, that's the man I have to protect, and he gets that surge of power back. That was like a real goose flesh moment.
Yeah, actually, what I thought was, even Bobby sir has a backstory. Like,
right.
I shot also,
Oh.
but CG may delay hua, and I thought like, let's not, because it's not fitting with the music for somehow.
Yeah.
Even when Ranbir is hitting Bobby, even there are glimpse of like a 14-year-old guy, 13-year-old guy running towards the grandfather. Grandfather is in the fire. He's in shock. That's where he loses his voice and all that. No, I thought dono ka dikhaunga flash cut,
Interesting.
because I didn't want just for the sake of a villain is a bad guy.
Yeah.
He also has equal reasons to kill Balbir. But somehow in the music, in that pattern, it is not sitting. And I thought in the edit only, I thought let's not use it. I will only use this.
There's many funny moments in this movie, but
Sorry for the noise. Some work is going on, but very interesting what he said. Like, oh my god. Is it audible? It is. Let's keep watching. No, I was saying Bobby, there's like, that means there were a lot of things cut out for Bobby. So I think a lot of people were not happy about that.
one of my favorite funny moments is when Ranbir goes to Pind, gets all those people, and I love Anil Kapoor's face when all these people are touching his feet, and he's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Just like he's just going like, "Oh God, okay, whatever." So something's happening here. I'm not understanding this.
Yeah.
So it's like that
Anil
was
sir
so.
particularly gave look for everybody. That is which worked actually.
Yeah.
he didn't, ignore not even one guy.
he's
11
like,
people, everybody was looking at it because it worked. Yeah, you laughed at that point because
Yeah.
he's, yeah.
I was just because the thing is, he did not expect this.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there is a family history there.
Yeah.
So he's not even sure that. See, when he himself is so distanced from his relatives,
Yeah.
he would think his son is even more distanced
Yeah.
from them. But for
Yes.
that boy to go there
Yeah.
and get all these people back, and suddenly he's like having a mini family reunion.
Yeah.
At one time, he's not even expecting anything. He's like totally like
Yeah.
mind, like he's gone. He's like, I don't know what's happening. And Anil played that moment beautifully because it was he's just like so confused, what's happening
Bamboozled.
here. So that was lovely.
Yeah.
So did you see parts of this movie as a dark comedy? Because for me, it definitely felt like there were parts of this that were a
Interesting.
dark comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you feel that at all?
No. There's a humor which is very organically unfolding. I thought, okay, it's nice. Such a dark film. I thought like little humor to banta hai, matlab.
Right.
It's better. So whenever it is coming, I didn't stop it. I let it happen. Even the prostitute scene and all that.
Yeah.
I thought like, yeah, let's go with the flow.
Right. When the cousins are with with those women and all
Yes,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It was just a random scene there.
It's just a random scene. I thought like I'll break the ice also because, see, either you celebrate with your cousins, either you scold them. Then only you will have a kind of understanding or you're breaking the ice. Celebration, I didn't find any reason to celebrate for any other reason.
Yeah.
Because other than 2-3 cousins, the rest of them are like a little strangers only to me.
Yeah.
Because one guy is a fan, one guy, the Jitta, is like Kab aaya tu and all that. It's in the entire lot, 1-2 people are close to him.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are like, I thought like it's a nice comic relief also.
It is.
And now you individually you identify everybody. So what happened in the screenplay? You see them like bodyguards. When Rashmika says like bodyguards ke saath, he says like, don't dare to say bodyguards, they're my cousins. He's like, okay, they're cousins. When the first time you're viewing, uske baad you see in the print like group of people talking, but you don't identify really like who is who.
Yeah.
So I thought that scene was actually helped.
Yeah.
And that was one good thing, in the film, that the side characters are always, on the back burner. Then no one really cares about them. But he didn't do that. He kept on, using them and give them identity that you remember those characters.
Like to demarcate
Yeah,
who's who.
yeah.
But in a strange way, that scene also has an echo because he's telling these guys, what if one of these women is a spy, and later he gets a spy
Yeah.
in the form of
Yeah,
Zoya.
yeah.
So it kind of kind of has a
That's why in the swimming pool scene where he comes and says like the difference is we pay and he's using his talent.
Yeah.
So if we all equal, then that guy says like nahi mohabbat ho jata hai bade logon ko.
That when he's making the fruit juice or whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah.
Now you mentioned The Godfather. I noticed quite a few similarities in The Godfather. That film also opens with a long celebration of a wedding, and this one opens not opens, but there's a big 60th birthday celebration of the dad thing where lots of things happen.
I actually didn't connect those dots. I think Bhagwad's review only I saw where like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
The brother-in-law is instrumental in betraying the that's why the Don gets shot. And here too, the same thing happens. And there too, Michael kills his brother-in-law, and here Ranbir kills his brother-in-law. And there too, there's a scene where his sister hits out at him for killing her husband, and here too, that kind of a thing. Now, these are things that were you thinking of Godfather when you did these, or did these just accidentally happen?
This actually very organically because I saw Godfather some 30-40 times.
Yeah. So it's inside you.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Even in Arjun and Kabir, they said there's a bit of Devdas. Maybe, I've watched too many versions of Devdas, so maybe.
So that way it kind of thing. Because even that car explosion, that's there in Godfather too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in a different context.
Definitely a different context.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure whether you were like, let's give a little homage to Godfather kind of a thing, or did it just come organically?
No, I didn't actually try to give homage, but I knew this party thing. It is a little similarities are there.
Right.
But sister thing, he didn't. Michael will never say. He's still quiet about it.
Yeah.
I thought like, but telling to sister was a little going overboard. But it went smooth. That scene was actually ऐसा नहीं लगा कि it was unnecessary. I thought he's making a point. देख के होता है मोहब्बत,
Right.
प्यार देख के होता है, because I feel like I know there's one point where you say there's unconditional love which is happening in Arjun and Kabir, but deep down you feel somewhere subconsciously you notice everything.
Right.
So I thought let's get that point also.
Yeah.
So
What is the reason you began with Ranbir at 60?
because keeping part 2, part 3 in mind.
Oh, so you were
Three.
thinking about that.
Yeah, I thought
Part 3. Oh my god. Some people will not able to take that.
like, maybe part 2, part 3, the old man is narrating, I thought it's nice way of opening the film with laughter, and there's relatively he's taking a monkey joke.
Yeah.
Monkey is a kind of animal which has no control of, this they say, don't behave like monkey. That means that most of the times you don't have a control on it. And out of all animals, the way you say monkey only, you'll feel something about it.
Yeah.
I don't know the way that you pronounce it, or So that's a very old joke from Karnataka. When I was studying physio, I heard this joke 20 years back. I don't know, it stayed with me. There was a time when in the college when somebody said, "Shh," they never used to turn back because you know what he's going to do. He's going to do that. So it was that famous joke.
So that's coming from
So-
real life, okay?
Because the moment is
And everyone in their life, have such things. It's about bringing those things and putting them in your film and making it iconic that today everyone knows about it. And, it's such a teenage and, your friends group, something or the other joke will be there similar. Everyone has that.
it's like 100 years of swastik celebration. I thought like it will not be like 3,000 people. It will be like only
Small.
close people, 15 or 20 people. They're drunk till morning, and he's talking about his father. Cousins must have heard that story like 150 times. That's why they are like, fuck man, how many times you're going to narrate the same story to me? And he looks at everybody and he says like, okay, you don't want actually there's a dialogue. He says, तुमको जज्बात नहीं चाहिए ना, तुमको entertainment चाहिए. चलो तुमको एकदम बंदर का joke बताता हूँ. I thought like in the edit I don't need that dialogue also.
Yeah.
It is coming through his eyes so much that
Yeah.
there's no need for me to use the dialogue.
Right.
Then he say, okay guys, I'll put the glass and I'll tell you a joke. Then everybody are laughing. He's just looking at them. He's looking at it in a way that, okay, you guys only need this.
Yeah. When they're laughing,
Yeah.
the camera goes in close to Ranbir,
yeah.
and at least I thought I saw a bit of sadness in his eyes.
Yes, that's what.
Right.
Because when you see father dying with leukemia in the climax, and you know that he's going to die, so you don't know how the death happened, right? So I thought like, you're 60-year-old and you're still feeling for father. That means that
Lovely. I didn't think of it that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Because I've noticed my uncles and in my real life also to other people, people who lose parents at the age of 30s and 40s and who lose parents at the age of 60, the pain is not same. I don't know why. I find it
Interesting.
very strange.
But is that monkey?
Because there's always this, right, incompleteness that maybe when they're 60, like, it's gonna happen, but 36, like, oh, they just left midway, it's not full, complete.
Story also a kind of indication that we are still animals in some way and we are capable of change.
That is a straight inclination because we title animal, so it's
Yeah.
talking about animal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We are not capable of change. That's
Yeah.
the thing. We are basically animals.
Yeah, we are, because we have IQ and we have communication. We are on the top, or else we would have ruled out,
Right. So when you have these scenes like he's walking around naked like an animal, or he has a very territorial behavior towards his father, or when he's like he tells his wife, let's make love in the open. Are these all things that came after you thought of him as an animal, or these are again scenes that you just did because they felt organic?
No, this is a feeling that it gives the animal, characteristic feature, like, So she's behaving like human. He's saying like, this is our private jet strip. Nobody's going to watch and all that. And I thought the idea of putting the bed on the runway itself is it's a different, and I don't know how many have noticed, we put at the edge of the takeoff point actually. Those blue lines of lights, were too much of detail. I don't know that people have noticed. But I thought they're going to make love and it's a takeoff point, symbolically, I want to say so many things. I don't know whether it conveyed or not, but yeah, that's the major idea. Is like, it's a very interesting idea and an interesting thought also to talk with in a newly married discussion. It's a very nice cozy talk, and next day morning, suddenly it becomes about the father. So I want to show that difference also.
So after this, you have them, and then the plane. You said it symbolically. The story takes off, and it almost hits the mountain, but he goes up. Then comes the most interesting screenplay decision that you make, which is the plane vanishes into the clouds. The clouds clear, and suddenly a car comes into the frame, and a bearded like animal. That is the animal Ranbir. That's the post, that animal Ranbir gets out. And suddenly he's going and killing his Jijaji. There is no context. Why did it occur to you that I want this sudden jump to this animal and then give the story of why he's killing the Jijaji?
Yeah, I just want to give a shock value because if he comes back from US and he's going to pin and get a fatty, it's again you're waiting. You're waiting on what's going to happen, and you know what's going to happen. Audience are very smart. He knew what he's going to, because he said, "ऐसा एक दिन आएगा, इस दोनों भाइयों को the end कर दूंगा मैं." We've established the rift very clearly. He tells the younger one.
You're expecting as audience, and then if you know that's the end goal, and now you're just going through the motions of, "Arey, go, I want to get to the scene," and then when the scene happens, you're like, I knew it, so it's not fun. It becomes boring. So I think that it works in that sense.
Saying, when she was getting married, I was बच्चा था, मेरे हाथ में कुछ नहीं था. I was not in a form to control things, but your marriage I'll control. So I thought, like, after this romance thing, I want to give call it cinematic high or a high with the masses, That was a very deliberate attempt that, I want the story to take off with a very high cinematic scene. Because when you're killing Jija, by then only few people, I knew half of the auditorium will be in shock, half the auditorium will be in like, what a scene. Because we are always rooting with the hero when it's a character-driven film. And if somebody upsets hero, you are not happy with that guy. So he's killing, and the way he got the power back from the point where the way he's talking to him, "Tune upset kar diya," he got the authority there. And from there, there's shift of authority, shift of so many things. And you see those gang walking inside the room, it looks very powerful.
Yeah.
And when we come back, and there's a normal domestic scene where Rashmika is coming and hugging, and we've shown some toys, kids are sleeping. If that's now, that, oh, now it's like 7-8 years ahead.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Papa, she comes, she says, "Didi, kya hua?" Then we go back to the story. It will be interesting. Or as I felt I never wanted a regular screenplay because we have seen this kind of stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Only a screenplay and the characterization will make it interesting.
Right.
नहीं तो like you'll see half of the film you are done. Interval में उठ के चले जाएंगे.
Yeah. Ranbir takes so many slaps from his father and from his wife.
Yeah.
He never gets angry at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like he kind of,
I feel he's beyond that.
Okay.
Because he knew that he is playing with the strap. He knew that he's not supposed to do. He gets slapped, that's why he'll have a smug on his face. You know that he's going overboard. But
right. So he's pulling that brass strap, why?
Because I felt, see, when you have a little sprain or a fracture or a small thing, one little putty, you get so irritated sometimes and things doesn't happen. Maybe your phone is not charging, also you get angry because you already have a splint. So much has happened with him. And father wants the cousins to live.
Even I had a similar thought that they kind of established that his body is going through so much and mentally also is affected, so he's still not in his right mind, kind of he's that there's that thing, and that's why, because the first time we see something like this, he's first time irritating her or harming her in that sense. So it felt like, yeah, what has happened with him medically is like what's happening in his body. That's why he did it, because it's out of character, him doing that.
And he's coming and shouting on the father saying that you don't trust me. And it's all chaos. The maid comes and says like she's signing. Obviously, he doesn't want everybody to feel that he's deaf, so he threw the food. And he feels the Geetanjali should understand about this. And she puts a salt. And with the viscosity, the actual dialogue is viscosity. He said viscosity ज़्यादा हो गया, thickness बोलते हैं.
Yeah.
Then he'll get angry. He'll like, fuck, so much is happening with me. You're putting salt in my food. In a very lighter way, he says like, इस बार गुस्सा आया तो salt and pepper में मत उतार, सीधा poison में किस्सा खत्म.
Yeah.
She's going and throwing the food. She's preparing another new ball. But I feel for a man, it will hit you from inside. Like, fuck, wait, what has happened with me? She's putting salt in my food. That's why he said, fuck, okay, now I'll play with you. And he says, may as well get out. And if you see, first one is like in a very lighter way, he does that. Like in a very romantic way, he does that. And after that, then very clearly you see when the camera comes front, you see Ranbir growing in the frame with a little different kind of anger. I don't know how to say or put it in words. He'll just bend like that and say, what were you talking to your mother? Knowing he knew that she will not talk anything ill about him, but he always have this strange feeling with her parents because they were never met.
Yeah.
Because there was a scene which was written, which I didn't shoot, was in the hospital, the parents come to visit him. So he'll tell to Geetanjali, why your mother is giving me that kind of a look as though I am bedridden from 1 year. It's only 2 days. It's only 10 days. There should be hope. I don't see any hope in your mother's eyes. So from there we reach here. So I removed that, but I felt like since you try to hurt me, I'll try to hurt you.
Right.
So that's why I thought like, when he came, when he's leaning to her and talking to her, when he's pulling the pony, I thought like, what else he'll do? Maybe he'll, play with the strap. And
right. No, I'm saying this is also for many people, this kind of scene is a trigger point, right? Because it kind of...
Domestic violence.
Yeah, domestic violence. Not... Yeah, in a way, it's like you're psychologically aware of why... See, you're aware that this is a very imperfect character. But when you see them doing this thing, or when you see Ranbir talking about you have a big pelvis, you have big hips, childbearing hips, one part of me is understanding the character and saying that, yes...
Okay, this is now where we get to the interesting portions.
He is...
The controversial ones.
Not like a normal guy. So he's going to behave like a crude animal, right? But another part of me is also like, oh my God, that's such a crude line. So tell me, when you put these scenes in, or even that scene where she takes off her top and she's standing in front of him and he's like, oh my God, you look so good for a mother of two. What's running through your mind when you put these scenes? Is it partly, again, shock value, or is it something else?
It's a surprise value, shock value, and see, when they had this thing in the school, high school, and after that they were never in touch, and he's trying to say what has happened in the past with his brother, with her brother, and with her he's saying about alpha, beta, and all that, and he's saying if you are in that situation, bunch of Arvinds are alpha, she's saying alpha, but he's not saying, listen, we had this emotion in school, and I really love you. He was not able to say that. He's trying to come in a different route, explaining it because it's the engagement day and they were not in touch. And suddenly, coming with that force and saying, hey, listen, Geetanjali, I really love you. What has happened between us? He can't say that. So he's trying to explain a theory which is related to his character also, the title also for the film. For the audience, when they're watching, it doesn't seem like what theory he's talking. It gives a feeling that ये character ऐसे बात करेगा शायद. That is what the information we are getting. And she walked away. And while he was talking, he didn't even realize when he kept his hand on the feet.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought of shooting while baat karte, like, he's just playing with the petals of the flowers and he just put a hand on her feet. I wanted to shoot that, but I thought I'll not show it. Then I figured out on the shooting day itself, let's not show that. Let's give again a shot if the girl looks at me and says, I didn't even realize that you're touching my feet. You didn't even realize, matlab, for the girl's side, you're engrossed in the discussion. That's what I felt like will convey that. And very sweetly, he'll remove the hand. And he also feeling that, maybe I cross a line of touching. He gives that look. And she also gives a little irritated look and she's walking away. I felt like she's walking away. He knew, agar usko abhi chhod diya, if without saying one more line, he knew that she's gone. So how should I say that I'm seeing future with you? I want to marry you. So I thought, like, in these situations, boys behave very differently sometimes. Your intention is something else, but you end up saying something else. So he didn't know what to say. Then, this was the brief given to Ranbir also. I said, like, suddenly you don't know what to say. He's like, Geetanjali, you got big pelvis. So Usually you women are fat. So he's saying, he's giving a reason. He's saying that I'm seeing future with you, that, you know, we'll get married and we'll have babies. So that, I thought that was a compliment. I never thought it's, I mean, like, how you found it ugly?
No, see, one part of me understood that this guy is not a like a normal guy, right? It's like he's not going to tell, like he's not going to behave with anybody properly. Leave alone men, women, everybody behaves. This thing. But that line, because you have childbearing hips, it took me back to the medieval times when women used to be evaluated on like, you know, they'll examine everything about a woman and see whether she's fit for marriage or kind of a thing, which doesn't happen anymore.
True.
So that's what was little like, it made me wince a
Yeah,
little.
because he spoke about the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Right before into the discussion, I thought it's a continuous thing to say, and
that's what I say. So in the character, it fits, but when you're watching it, it makes you like go back a little and kind of a thing. So, but tell me this foot thing that you brought up, right?
Interesting, like description of that scene, that what he was going through, and it makes sense. There was through his lens of what he was trying to do there, and his thing of, you know, some men at those moments suddenly don't know what to say, and they may say that has not happened to me. I think so. Not as in wrong thing, not about them. Maybe you just, you know, you embarrass yourself by doing something. And I know people, I have talked to my friends or, you know, family somewhere, my age, that, you know, that has happened to them. They like ruined a moment when they were with a girl, and they said something totally what makes no sense, and, you know, they regret it and embarrassing, and these are stories everyone would have. So I understand where he's coming from. And but yeah, okay.
Again, in that Karwa Chauth scene, he's touching her feet. When she gets out in Kashmir, he's very lovingly putting the winter boots on her naked feet. When Zoya comes, he points to his foot and says, you know, like kiss my boots if you really love me. What is this thing with feet throughout the movie? It's like a...
No, I feel in a relationship, everybody has a way of, you know, touching and cuddling and kissing.
And
Everybody
his thing
have
is
a
feet.
yeah. I thought like I give this feet idea. I mean, like it's a, I don't know how to put it, but you know, if you have the idea of, you know, in few couples we see they hold hand and they kiss on the dorsum of the hand, and it's a kind of their thing in a relationship. So I thought touching
It's like an intimate thing between
the
people.
feet or holding
They can have their own, you know, every couple can have their own things.
the feet, you
Is
know,
his thing.
yeah, I thought it will be and coming to that, what you said about removing the top and saying that one, because I don't know how many people have noticed, uh, you know, out of 5 sense organs, 3 are gone.
Yeah.
Smell, taste, and hearing. So only touch and vision is left. So I thought that's the only thing which is working. So for that, I thought he'll ask her to do that, you know, and he hugs, and so he's so out of shape. So he's in a way complimenting, saying, you know, look at yourself. You know, that I thought that's a way of complimenting in a
like I'm
married
this fat
relationship.
guy
Yeah.
now, and father calls him a pig.
Yeah.
And
So I thought like, you know, there's a line actually, look at me and look at you. But I thought like, forget about look at me. Says, you know, look at you, mother of 2 kids. And he signs it. I thought like, he's happy for her.
Yeah.
It's a nice compliment in a relationship after so much has happened. You know,
Right.
between the strap thing and all that.
Why did you have the maid at the corner of the frame?
Oh, I wanted because if when he if you notice when he'll touch like that and he'll say like this, you know, the mannerism also is like A B, because I didn't want to say that remove the top, you know, and even when
She
Rashmik also
understands.
when she'll drop the chunni like that, like I didn't want the chunni to remove and put it like that. It's like it has to. It's like one drop and one lift. It has to be like A B again. Then I thought like if she checking the surrounding, it's gone. The romance is gone. So I thought like forget about the surrounding. He wants me to do this, I'll do it for him. And there's a focus shift because of the same maid where she got scolding. So I thought like, well, it would be nice to shift on it to show that how they're unaware of the surroundings.
Right.
So I think I thought that will be nice as a see it like a romance.
Right.
You know,
Right.
forget about the world.
Right.
It's that kind of a feeling.
No, in the Sandeep Reddy Vanga world, the women are also a little, how do I put it? wacky. They're not doing the things that the women typically do. For example, uh, in Arjun Reddy, when he comes and sleeps on her lap, actually, there is in this film too. There is this.
That's what I know. Yeah.
This is again a. I was like, is this Sandeep echoing Arjun Reddy or what is he doing? It's like where he comes near where the children are playing in the bathtub,
Yeah.
and she says, "Come," and then he puts his Ranbir puts his head on Gitanjali's lap. So it's like a very similar scene to what Arjun Reddy does.
Yeah.
Another thing is the women. You show them as the initiators of sex. In Arjun Reddy also, it's Preeti who initiates the kiss and then the lovemaking. It's not Arjun, even though he's kind of a thing. Whereas here also, there is a scene where she kind of wears the lingerie and comes, and she's like in this mood to make love, and she comes in front of him.
I never thought this.
You never thought
I
this?
never thought this. I swear, I never thought this. Yeah.
I'm like, why are these women?
Even this sleeping on the lap, I never thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never remembered the Arjun Reddy scene?
No, I'm surprised actually. Even this thought of, they tried first.
Yeah.
I never thought.
I thought this is something that you're doing deliberately because no, because they are like initiating this thing, whereas the guy is like, he's like, I'm not in the mood. I'm kind of, this thing.
No, that thing, I didn't deliberately put the approach, but I wanted to get into, see what discussion they had in the flight. Very, other than, don't talk about my father like that. What do you mean? My father's a great father. Then that line, I want to show that this is a shift of discussion.
Yeah.
Hardly they spoke anything. And now suddenly you see there's a big argument happening. I thought that would be a nice dramatic quotient.
And it's very nice because there too, you're showing him as somebody who's so preoccupied with something else. Because she says, I'll be ready like this. And she says, okay. She does this. And he's like, you don't want to make love to me anymore. And then she goes back inside. And then he follows her inside. And so in a way, she's kind of like, he follows her around. Like, it's not like...
From the US, when you see people living in US, the kind of lifestyle they have, and when you come and stay in a house where the in-laws are there, it is not the same because women are very independent in US, especially Indian women. You ask any Indian, most of them, they don't want to come to India. They feel it's much independent space.
Right.
You come to I know it's a huge place, it's a palace kind of a house, but still in-laws staying and all, I felt like everything is a little in control now, So I thought maybe he must be busy with so much things happening around. So we are not showing that it's understood now in the screenplay. So I thought like what will be the discussion between both of them?
Yeah.
Other than if not this. So a regular discussion will be very boring.
Yeah.
So
they can't be talking about, oh, I'm so sorry about your dad or whatever.
Yeah. Because again, I want to make it, I don't know why we have come here. We are so happy in US. So I want that thing to happen so that I want to go back to the story. So when you have that pattern, so you have to place these things very rightly.
Okay.
Right.
So we can't show any other thing other than that.
Right.
So,
also,
but this is, I never thought, the sleeping in the lab and all that.
So
you have to be very careful now. I never thought actually, because even the poster also, unless somebody outside person said, oh, because they're saying specs, beard, the same poster they're saying. I didn't even thought about that. So I have to be really careful, seriously, because, But when we were shooting, I was feeling like the way Rashmika calls him, come, I felt like she's calling a kid.
Actually, even on Arjun Reddy, it plays like that because had she not, she's not like, oh God, this is so disgusting or something like that, right? She's actually calling a friend and saying, bring a blanket, and she's like treating him like a baby.
Yeah, this is still overboard, Yeah,
so this is also a little, I was like...
This is okay, this is wife and husband, but that's like, she's new in the college.
Yeah,
so that was a little overboard, but I thought like it will go well with the audience, Whoever is watching, you're like, okay, let's see what happens.
For me, I look at your women being as nuts as the men. And that's kind of, they're also kind of off. Like they're not the regular women. They're a little off. Which kind of, when I say off, it means like, for example, in Arjun Reddy, during that song, that's when you really know that she's also like so extreme, because they're going somewhere, the motorbike accident happens. They fall down, and instead of like dusting off or checking themselves or whatever it is, they run towards each other when the like with all their wounds and bruises and blood and this and
Yep.
that. So I'm like, you guys are made for each other, because both of you are so extreme. Here too, you get that feeling that only Rashmika can probably control Ranbir.
Yeah.
There's nobody else who can. His father can't control him. None of the
Mhm.
sisters or whatever it is.
Okay.
Only she has.
True.
The
I gave a little hint in few areas where, if you notice, she says, like, don't do anything.
Yeah.
While taking the kid.
Yeah.
And even when he's sitting alone, she's giving him that constant look, saying,
Yeah.
like, see, we just left everything and we came and you don't even get to see your father. What's happening? That kind of a look is there already. And when the sister is talking also, she'll check Ranbir, whether he's reacting or not. Then she'll say, Didi, aapne bhi phone nahi kiya na.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
was
line
very...
I did notice.
And Rashmika killed it, that
Yeah.
you transform. And she did, it came very effortlessly. In the look also, we didn't try much.
Yeah.
Only through the dialogue and the way she's emoting, we saw that 6 years of difference in the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll take a break here. It's a long one, too heavy. So let's take a break here, and you can check out part 2 here on screen. It will be there. Click on it, watch it, and I'll see you there. Bye.